there! Today, we're going to dig into something that's at the heart of coding, how to make your programs actually talk back to you. We'll look at how Python gets information from a user and how it shows results, basically turning a boring script into something you can actually interact with. All right, let's just jump right in with a puzzle that I promise you has confused every single person when they first start learning Python. You write what seems like a super simple program to add two numbers. You type in 10, then you type in 20, and Python proudly gives you the answer, 1020. Wait, what? What on earth is going on here? And this is where you can really see the disconnect, right? On the left, we've got our code. It looks totally fine. It makes perfect sense. Get a number, get another one, add them up. But the result on the right is, well, it's not what we wanted at all. Now, you might be thinking Python is broken, but this isn't a bug. It's actually a feature, and once you understand it, everything will click into place. So to solve this little mystery, we have to put our main suspect under the microscope, the input function. This is the piece of our code that's responsible for grabbing what the user types, and it has one very, very specific role that's causing all this trouble. So what's its job, really? At its core, the input function is like a pause button for your program. It just stops everything, waits for you to type something and hit enter, and then it hands that information back to your code. Simple, right? But it's how it hands it back that's absolutely crucial. And boom, this is it. This is the smoking gun. The input function treats everything it gets as a string, and a string is just text. So it doesn't matter if you type your name, a long sentence, or a number. To the input function, it's all just a sequence of characters, not a value you can do math with. Okay, so let's put it all together. Python didn't see the number 10 and the number 20. It saw the text 10 and the text 20. And when you use the plus sign on text, Python doesn't think math. It thinks glue. It just sticks them together, side by side. It's a process called concatenation. And that is exactly why 10 glued to 20 becomes 1020. Okay, so we know why it's happening. So how do we fix it? Well, the secret is a super powerful idea called type conversion. We don't change how input works, we change what it gives us. We basically have to tell Python, hey, I know this looks like text right now, but trust me, I want you to treat it as a number. And we do that with these two little helper functions. They're like translators. If you're dealing with whole numbers, 1, 5, 100, you use int to convert the text into an integer. If you need decimals for things like money or measurements, you use float. These are the tools that let you turn text into something Python can actually calculate. And here it is. This is that aha moment. Just look at the code on the right. See how we've wrapped our input function inside the int function. It's like we built a little assembly line. Input grabs the text 10, but then int immediately transforms it into the number 10 before it gets stored in our variable. Now, when Python sees the plus sign, it knows to do proper math. Problem solved. Awesome. So now we can get the right answer. But getting the result is only half the battle, right? We have to show it to the user and present it clearly. For that, we turn to our other best friend, the print function. The print function is basically your program's mouthpiece. It's how your code talks to the outside world. You can give it a variable, some text, the result of a calculation, pretty much anything, and it will display it on the screen for you. It's super simple on the surface, but it has some really neat tricks up its sleeve. So right out of the box, print has a couple of default habits. If you give it multiple things to print at once, it'll automatically put a space in between them. And after it's done, it automatically hits enter for you, moving the cursor to the next line. This is super helpful, most of the time. But what if that's not what you want? Well, we can actually customize it using these special arguments called sep and end. The sep argument lets you control the separator. You can tell it, hey, instead of a space, use a dash, like in this example. And the end argument lets you control what happens at the very end. You can replace that new line with a comma or a space or anything you want. Let's look at a real example here. On the left, two separate print calls give us two separate lines of output. Makes sense. But look at the right. By adding end equals space to that first print statement, we're basically telling Python, hey, don't go to the next line when you're done. Just add a space and stay put. This lets the next print statement continue right where the first one left off, all on the same line. It gives you a ton of control. Okay, before we finish up, I've got one more pro tip for you that's going to make your code way more efficient. Instead of asking the user for input line by line by line, you can actually grab multiple pieces of information all at once. It's a really simple three-step process. First, you just use input to grab the whole line of text user types. Second, you just tack on .split right after it. This magic method breaks the string apart everywhere it sees a space. And third, you just list your variables on the left side, and Python will automatically assign each piece to a variable in order. And here's what that looks like all in one go. If a user types a SHAS498, the .split method breaks that into 3 pieces. Python then neatly assigns a SHAS to the name variable, 4 to class, and 98 to marks. It's so clean. Just remember, and this is super important, like the input function itself, .split gives you strings. So you'd still need to convert class and marks to numbers using integ if you wanted to do math with them. So there we have it. We went from a really confusing bug to understanding exactly how Python handles input and output. You now have the tools to have a real conversation with your programs. You can ask for information, you can do the right math, and you can present your results clearly. So the only question left is, with this new power, what are you going to build first? Thanks for joining me.